All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome to this Crystal XO review of OWN's newest unscripted series, Heart and Hustle. The series debuted last night, and I got to be honest with you guys, I think this is going to be one of my new favorite series. Hey, XO family. Hey, Linda B. Hey, DeQueezy. Hey y'all, hey, I think this is going to be a great show. I'm super excited. As soon as I saw the screener, I knew that we had to do this together as the XO family. We had to come together and review every week this show because number one, it's just the show is about Black women and it's believable. It is relatable. There are one of the things that I love about Heart and Hustle that I have not seen on other shows is that we do have it shows the experience of the single Black woman and it shows the experience of the married Black woman, and it shows the newly married. It shows the people that have been married for years. It just shows like the experience of a Black woman, a professional Black woman in all different stages. You have some entrepreneurs, you have some that have married wealthy, you have some that are transitioning. It's just a great overall representation, and I think the producers did a great job. And as DeQueezy said, it was drama from the beginning. It shows the cougar life. There you go. So you have women that are married to their high school sweethearts. You have women that are out here, getting it in and doing their thing with people that are old, youngest, their children. It's just everything is in this show, and it also shows. I think that I don't like a lot of times how they say that married women should not have single friends, or single friends, have an issue with married friends. I think that, your friends are your friends, and you just have to, but you do have to be mindful. You do have to be respectful. And, there are boundaries on either side. But I just like the fact that you see a little representation of everything, right? So that you don't have to have the married versus the single, or the entrepreneur versus the corporate girl. Like, it's a little bit of everything, and they all are doing their thing. Beautiful cast, and again, they look like us, they feel like us, and so I want to get into the actual ladies first before we because it started off hot. They came in hot, which is great because it captures us as an audience. And I think after this first episode, I was definitely sold. I was all the way locked in. I did have an opportunity to interview two of the ladies, and that interview is going to go live tomorrow on the channel. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. But let's meet the ladies for those of you that may not have seen the show tonight, last night. First, we have Munira. She is 43 years old. She is a wife, a mother of 4 daughters, and an electrical engineer who later branched out into becoming a content creator. According to OWN, Munira is embracing a powerful season of evolving, leaning into vulnerability, and unlearning the emotional walls she was once taught to build. The thing about Munira, to me, that's super interesting, and she actually was one of the ones I interviewed, is that she came from an electrical engineering background, which is very male-dominated industry. And she was a beautiful woman in that industry. And that's kind of, you don't expect to see women that look like her in that industry, but she did it. And she was there for 20 years. So it wasn't like she just tried it out. She was there for 20 years. She did her thing. And then she segued into now being a content creator. Now all she does is create content with her beautiful family. It helps for her to be beautiful. Her daughter, she has 4 daughters. An attractive husband. So, that's social media ready. So she is a content creator now. And that is Munira. Like I said, you'll get a chance to see my conversation with her. Next, we got the fireball to me. Chloe is 44 years old. She is an event planner who took a step back from her business after her husband died. She is the cougar of the bunch. She is currently in a relationship with a man only a few years older than her oldest son, which is causing a rift. Although she cares deeply for her son, Chloe is determined to find the balance between being a good mom and having her own happiness. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Chloe. That's one of our first topics of conversation tonight. But, in all of this and everything that happens, we have to understand, I think that for me, I always try to figure out why people are doing what they're doing, why their perspective is the way it is. And usually that's based on what they've been through and who they are, right? And so with Chloe, I think we just have to keep in mind that she is a widow, at 44 years old. That's got to be very difficult. And so now she is living her best life. She's very outspoken. She's one of them girlfriends. You ever have those girlfriends that just sometimes just say a little too much? Like, girl, you don't have to say that. I think that's Chloe. Um, I've never, well, I don't think I'm that girlfriend in any friend group. But I'm usually irritated by that personality, that one that just doesn't mind stepping on toes. Like they just don't seem to have a filter. Um, I'm never the closest with that person. I'm usually kind of like irritated by them. But they also sometimes are needed because they have to shake things up, because when everyone else is quiet, they just call a spade a spade. So that is definitely Miss Chloe. Next, we have Elena. And Elena is the other one that I interviewed. Elena is 38 years old. She is the founder and CEO of the beauty brand Color du Jour. I love that name. She has been married for 15 years and has 2 kids. She married her high school sweetheart, and they have managed to stay together this entire time. She says having it all is never easy, and at times these two goals are causing conflict rather than peace, forcing Elena to have to make hard decisions between happiness and her marriage. The season opened up with Elena after, the marriage that seems the most successful in years, being, the longest married. They are kind of in peril. They're sleeping in separate rooms. She's not wearing her ring. We're going to get into that in just a minute, but definitely check out my interview on Monday, because you'll get a chance to hear a little bit more from Elena. Next, we have Labrina. Labrina right here. She is 35 years old. She owns a spa in Houston and is a married mom of 2. Sabrina is determined to learn from her past and her family's history and use that wisdom to break generational curses and build a better future for her family. What that quote does not say is that Labrina is married to a former NFL football player, and the money runs long. I love Labrina because I liked her character so far because she's into horses. And she has this beautiful sprawling ranch with horses, and it just looks like money is no object with her. She does, for the first episode, seem very down to earth, although she is very, very well off. They have a lot, but it's just good seeing. I know everybody's super obsessed with the whole country vibe, but this is an example of what it looks like in real life in Houston. Next, we have Latoria. Now, the great thing about Latoria, she is 36 years old. She runs the PR company Lemon Light Media and is on a journey to find love after the sudden loss of her father, who was also her best friend. Latoria is determined to find the love of her life and to begin to settle down. Wanting 5 kids in total, oh girl, you gotta hurry up and get started. She is feeling the pressure of getting older and realizing that no one man measures up to how great her dad was. Latoria, now I gotta say, I've had the opportunity to work with Latoria as a publicist here. I met her because we were both in the PR industry. And so I do know her. She's always been a joy to work with. She's just a sweetheart. I congratulated her on the show. So it's kind of cool, kind of knowing one of the cast members. I still promise to be objective. You know what I mean? She, in addition to being a PR maven, she also, in this first episode, we see that she is now a co-owner of a restaurant. And I'm not surprised, because us PR girls are always looking to diversify, always looking to do other things. And PR gives you a great network. And so she has a client that wanted her to go into business with her. I can definitely relate to that. I have a former client. Well, she's still a client of mine that I have several businesses with. So I totally get that. And it's exciting to see, someone that I really enjoy and like a lot and have a lot of respect for on the show. All right. Last but not least, we have Ro. and Ro is 39. She has a reputation in the restaurant and nightlife world, thanks to her work as an entrepreneur and hospitality innovator. After leaving her last restaurant, she's put her efforts into a consultancy that organized chaos groups. She also balances her work with being a single mom. So that was the ladies. We have 6 ladies, all in different stages of their life, all pretty much in their 30s, which is a great exploratory age. I feel like when you're in your 30s, you are learning so much about life. You are unlearning so much about life. You're learning so much about yourself. And I think that is it's great to have that age, because people can relate to them from both sides. So Hey You There says OWN needs to go back to investing in scripted original TV shows. We don't need all these darn reality TV shows. Well, you know what? I would kind of agree with you. But the thing about the reality shows is they're a lot cheaper to make. I remember when they were casting for this show, they were definitely looking for groups of friends that were had an organic connection and that would be TV friendly and all the things. And so yeah, I think that this is, I mean, if we're going to do reality TV, I like it like this more than I like some of the other things. I don't think we're going to see fighting and just, the ridiculous gaslighting that we see on other shows. However, before we get too deep into the conversation about all the women, I want to ask a question. Every week when we review Heart and Hustle, I'm going to ask a question to the chat and to the people watching on the replay that is from the show. And so today's question, to me, it was quite obvious when I watched the first episode what question I was going to ask. And so the question for tonight is it against girl code to comment on if your friend's husband is fine or not? To give you some context before you answer, I'm gonna give you a little context. I want you to watch this clip, and then we're gonna talk about it, and then I want you guys to give me your opinion.
Ever feel like you are outgrowing Josh? And I realize like that. I don't feel like Elena, you a baddie. I appreciate it, but do you feel he's fine too? Like Josh ain't baby.
You gonna mention somebody's husband is not fine and they sit right there next to you? I'm speechless. I needed Chat GPT or whatever it's called.
He is fine. He is fine. I'm talking about.
Okay, so after that clip, they kept going back and forth, and basically Elena kept trying to explain why her man was fine. She was like, he dresses nice. He always it was just like, it was the weirdest thing, to which Chloe was just laughing like, girl, you know your husband is not fine. It was crazy. So my question to you all is it against girl code to talk about how someone's husband looks? I say a resounding yes. Like, that was way out of bounds to me. Like, you don't, and especially like I could see telling someone that their guy is cute, like, okay, girl, I see you, whatever. But I don't think, and I think after they're married, it feels a little uncomfortable even to give him a compliment, because that person, that's her husband. I think a lot of people just don't realize marriage is really like, that person is supposed to represent you and you're supposed to represent them, right? But in no uncertain terms, you should never talk negatively about someone's husband. Like, who is you to say that her husband is not fine like that? And then to laugh, it was crazy to me that she would say that and that she would think that was okay. So I think that was absolutely crazy, crossing the line. I think that she owes her an apology. I think, but you know what? Hey You There says, now if I got a fine husband, better recognize. Yeah, but I mean, if somebody keeps going on and on about how fine your husband is, that could be a problem too. Like, I just think, it is apropos, right? It is just not just not to put your mouth on anyone else's man. Like, I don't think that you, but especially if you're trying to insult him. Now, I want to, be fair with the context. Basically, before that, Rose was saying, not Rose, Chloe was saying that Elena, she was like, do you think that you have outgrown him because you're very attractive? Basically, what she was saying, you could do better, right? Which is also offensive if that's her husband. Like, you don't tell somebody they can do better than their husband. Now, in the dating phase, I think all is fair game. I think if you want to pull your friend to the side and say, hey, girl, are you sure about this? This feels a little strange. Are you guys equally yoked? But once they're married, and they've been married for 15 years, so you're being disrespectful, in my opinion, to mention that someone's husband he's not fine. Like, first of all, fine is not even really important with a husband. I mean, it's a nice additive, right? It's a nice cherry on the top. But they've been together for 15 years. Fine wears off quickly. You want someone that really has your back and that loves you, and that looks at, like, that has nothing to do. Fine has nothing to do with staying married for 15 years. There's a lot of fine people that are single. You know what I mean? Fine is not anything. When it comes to a husband, you want someone that handles business. Now, the problem, is another thing I saw, like, this conversation happened because Elena acknowledged to them that she and her husband are having friends, right? I mean, are having problems, and they are sleeping in separate rooms, that she's not wearing her ring. They're going through a point where they're trying to figure out, what their marriage looks like restructured, because they have been working together doing social media, and their relationship has been very public. And she said she just wants to take a step back and make it private and just focus on herself for a while. Now, there's some other things that came out, in addition to her not wearing her wedding ring, and her moving out of the room, and her feeling like she wanted to split their businesses and not have their businesses connected anymore. Later, she did sit down with Labrina and did have a conversation about some of the other things in her marriage that she is concerned about. Now, we're talking about Elena right here. Now, this is the thing. I think what happened when that whole conversation happened at the table, and the ladies were at Latoria's new restaurant, right, attending a soft launch, so they could get a chance to get the sneak preview on the menu and the ambiance and all that. So they have this conversation, and immediately Chloe starts saying, well, I mean, are y'all together? Are you breaking up or what? She just goes in, and it's not, it doesn't feel like it's coming from necessarily a caring place. It seems like it's coming from like just like a nosy. She's being nosy. Like, it doesn't feel like, girl, are you okay? We're here for you. It feels very much like, girl, what are you talking about? What are y'all doing? I mean, y'all staying together. It sounds like y'all breaking up. It's not, it doesn't make the table feel like a safe place. So I wasn't surprised that Elena shut down, because first of all, what she did was going from talking about her problems with her relationship to defending her husband, because Chloe said he was not fine. So I feel like she was supposed to, have her husband's back, because she's still married to him no matter what. They're going through problems, but they're still married. And so it was her, I definitely understand why she had his back, but it also put her in a position where she couldn't just talk about what she was dealing with, because she was being, it's almost like it was, Chloe was trying to pick her apart. And that was unfortunate. Now, like I said, I'm going to give Chloe a little bit of grace. She was dead wrong. She owes Elena an apology. I hope we'll get that on. It was at a brunch. Girl, it was at a brunch. Every conversation with Black women at this point on reality TV takes place at some brunch or some dinner. That is what it happens. That is where it happens. Some brunch or some dinner. But definitely was at the brunch that they had at Latoria's restaurant. And it seemed like a big portion of the conversation. I will say this: as much as I like these ladies, I really like them. But and yes, Marital, I think the show is worth watching. I actually like it a lot, which is why I'm reviewing it. I wouldn't be reviewing it if I didn't think it was worth watching, because I think that it is a realistic snapshot of Black women in their relationships. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, deal with things. What I loved about the show is that they're very honest about the fact that a lot of Black women don't feel comfortable sharing things with their friends because you feel like you're being judged. I think a lot of us have friends that hold us up to a mirror that is like perfection. And if there's something, it's almost like if you show that there's a kink, a crack, they want to, well, what's going on? What's happening? And it's not from a place of, girl, I got you. It's from a place of, oh, I thought you said y'all were good. Like, that doesn't feel safe. Um, um, and so, yeah, I like the show. But I thought that conversation was unfortunate, and I'm not surprised that Elena kind of shut down and stopped talking about it. And I also think that could be one of the reasons that people say married women should not talk to single women. I don't think that's true. I think it depends on the single woman. But for someone like Chloe, that is basically like, well, girl, I've been through so much trauma. I'm like, y'all breaking up. If you're not in the same bedroom, y'all are gonna break up. Like, that is not what you need to hear, right? So I think for that reason, it's realistic, and it's definitely realistic, but it shows what problems there are sometimes with married and single friends. Now, moving on more into Chloe's situation, when you got a lot to say about one person, you got to know that the microscope is swinging back around to you as soon as you throw salt or throw shade at someone else. And so that's exactly what I did as a viewer. I was like, well, let me see what she got going on. Because she was saying that, after someone's been married for 15 years, I can't imagine how a person would enjoy that. I mean, the sex is probably not good after that long. It really sounded ignorant. Real talk. I'm trying to be nice, but it really just sounded ignorant. It sounded like someone that was hurt and had been through a lot and was just saying things totally anti because they don't have it, right? And so unfortunately she lost her husband, and like I said, you got to give her grace, because I don't know how I don't know how that would feel. That's gotta be a very painful thing. I know that when people lose their parents, when people lose their children, it's difficult. When you have a divorce, it's difficult. It feels like a death. But when there is an actual death, I cannot imagine, how that would feel. And, Tammy says she came off as a hater. She did come off as a hater, but I'm hoping that she came off as a hater. Well, not hoping, but I'm believing that she came off as a hater because she's got a lot of hurt that she has not dealt with. I'm going to let you guys look at this picture really quickly, and I'm going to get this dog, and give me 2 seconds. I'll be right. Okay, I am so sorry about that. Sugar Pie's daughter is out of control. Sugar Pie's daughter, Paisley, is out of control. If you guys don't watch this channel, my dog Sugar Pie had babies earlier this year, and one of the babies we kept, and her name is Paisley, and she is a hot mess. She is 4.5 months now and off the chain, so she's just gonna bark at the door. Oh, no, I thought you got rid of the months. Girl, don't do that. Don't come for Paisley. Don't come for Paisley like that. Okay, so back to Chloe. So Chloe, when we see Chloe in her home, Chloe is the cougar, and I've heard, I did a podcast today. Scorpio and Mo and I did another podcast today. We were guests on another podcast. And what I learned is that there is this resurgence of women in their 40s and 50s that are dating these men in their like 20s. I don't know what that's about, but it is, I guess it's very popular, or people are trying to make it popular. But that is exactly what Chloe is. And she is dating someone that is 17 years younger than her. What is problematic to me is that she is dating someone that is just a few years older than her son. And it's bothering her son. Like the scene with her and her son was hard to watch. And I almost like, even though I like this show, I don't like when children get brought into it. And you can see that there's tension because the son is over it. He really doesn't want anything to do with the mom dating someone that's near his age. And she's trying to force it down his throat. And I don't think that's fair. I think, when you are a parent, the son is 17 years old. Yes, I understand that children have their lives and mom has to live hers. But I mean, we do have to realize that, and I don't think it's not about being a man or a woman. I think it would be just as horrible if a dad was dating someone that was almost his daughter's age. Come on. I'm nothing wrong with the cougar life. If you want to do it, do it. But I do think that you do have to have conversations with your children as long as they're under your roof. Now, once you're talking about children that don't live with you anymore, that's different. So if your children are in their 20s and they're out doing their thing and that's different. But if they're in your house at 17 years old, your son, 18 years old, your son lives with you, that's a problem, right? And maybe you could keep that out of the house. Like I know for myself, when I was a single mom, I didn't have people I dated around my children. And I might have had a cougar moment, maybe not that far, but I just didn't feel like that was appropriate, to have people around my children. Now, I know everybody's different, but I think unless that person is someone that you are looking to build a future with, it can cause a lot of problems. Hell, sometimes it can cause problems even if you are building a future with that person. It can cause problems. If her son is over 18, then he is an adult. But I was not under the impression that he was over 18. We will have to see next episode. But regardless of what, he's in the house with her. So if it's that much of a problem, you got to figure something out because that's definitely causing discourse, with her son. Plus, I would just say this, and I have no problem with people wanting to date younger men. Live your best life, do what you want to do. But what I will say is that you also have to be, people say it's different when, hey, what are you chewing? Don't chew that. Don't chew that. Don't do that. I do think it's different with men and women because like we were talking about last week with another show, a man can have children in his 90s, as long as he can get something up and release something. It may not even have to stay up long as he can release something. But a woman is not able to do that. And so the reality is, I think I told you guys, I have a good friend that is in her 50s and does not look like it. She's absolutely gorgeous and looks very young. And she's talking, she likes younger guys. She's a cougar. But one of the things that, we talk about is the fact that these guys, even though they are enjoying the look, they're enjoying all these things that, the fun of the relationship, because they say older women, they know what they want. They know how to have fun. They know who they are. All these things are true. However, when that young man wants to have a child, that can be difficult. And I'm not saying that women can't have children in their 40s and 50s because they can, but we know that it's a lot more difficult, right? And there are all types of complications that come along with that. Some women don't even want to have children. Some may want to try. I have friends on both sides of that equation. Some are dating someone younger than them and want to try to have a baby. And then others do not, they're like, I don't want to. And then there's some that would want to and cannot. So I think you just have to realize that I'm not telling anybody not to have their cougar life, do what you want. One of the girls at the podcast today had on a shirt that said Cougar Kitty. I'm not hating on the Cougar Kitty, but what I am saying is that, when you're doing that, be mindful that it can come back around to hurt you, because if that young man, after he's finished playing, if he decides that he wants to have children and you can't have children, or that's not something that is, something that you are looking for in your future, that can be heartbreaking. So just be mindful. I don't think Chloe wants to have children. Chloe just seems like she's having fun, and she's, to be the age that she is, talking about, I just want to have really nasty sex. That's all that's important. Maybe that's all that's important to her right now, but she's talking about other people's lives, and she really got a lot going on her own that I think she needs to figure out. So that was to me the most shocking thing from Saturday's premiere is just the girlfriend that is so willing to talk negatively about someone else's life, and then you dating a boy that is almost your son's age, and your son is uncomfortable with it, and he doesn't even really want to talk to you. Like you don't need to be worried about her husband being fine. You need to be worried about what is going on over here in your home, and if you are kind of acting out because of what you went through, like maybe you need to go to therapy and deal with the grief. I don't know. I can't say because that's just the first episode, but it just gave a lot of red flags to me, and it made me feel like she is definitely acting out or having like a what is it called when people have a go through another childhood because of something that happens to them. I just feel like that's the case. And Tammy said if her son is an adult, he can move out. He can, but I mean maybe that's something that she should have had a conversation about with him before she started dating someone his age and then trying to make him okay with it. Like she's trying to make him okay with it. And usually young people are not going to be, not an existential crisis. It's like a delayed, it's another word. I'll find it and bring it next week. But girl, Paisley, it just seems very strange. And the fact that she has all this going on, she was talking like marriage was not necessarily a positive thing. It just feels like it's a result of her having pain over losing her husband and not being able to deal with that. Right. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Latoria and Ro are both the single ladies, and they are trying to, and also, I mean, hell, Chloe is single too, honestly. But they are they're looking to date. And I know it said Latoria wants to have children. So she's trying to, be open to dating and that kind of thing. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. This first episode really focused more on the marriages. And so Elena had a conversation with Labrina. And as I mentioned, Labrina's husband is a former NFL player, and she's got all the money, the lifestyle that a lot of women aspire to have. And she was very honest. You're right. Ro does date younger as well. I don't know. We'll see how young, but yes, Ro does date younger as well. But moving back to Labrina and Elena, they had a very authentic and vulnerable conversation to which Elena acknowledged that she was harboring a lot of pain that she did not want to go into, at the lunch because it just didn't seem like a safe space. And also she touched on the fact that, we as Black women, and all of us can relate to this, a lot of times we feel like we have to be perfect. So we don't want people to know that our relationships are not perfect. We don't want people to know that we're struggling underneath this facade of trying to look like relationship goals or trying to be the perfect couple. There's usually a lot of hurt there. Now, see, Linda, don't do that. Don't talk about somebody else's husband being fine. We said as a collective that we're not gonna do that either way. I'm just kidding, but yeah. So Labrina and Elena have this conversation, and Elena acknowledges that when she was engaged to her husband, now this is over 16 years ago, there was infidelity on his part. And she said that she's not admitted to anyone that there was cheating during their engagement. Now, I know a lot of you all are going to say she should have been over that. 15 years is a long time. They've been married 15 years. And I will say to you this is the crazy thing about when you're hurt or something hurts you, and instead of dealing with it, you deflect or you try to ignore it and sweep it under the rug. It doesn't go away. It's like when you close something up. If you have a bad piece of fruit and instead of throwing it away, really you just hide it someplace and put it under something in your cabinet. If you put a piece of fruit in the back of your pantry that's going bad, right? Then eventually it's going to start to mold. It's going to start to stink. It's going to start to basically create poison. And it's also going to spread to anything that's around it. That poison will attract bugs, and it will spread to whatever it's next to will also become infected, and poisonous as well. And so that's exactly what happens when you have pain that doesn't get addressed. And a lot of women do that because you have to realize when a person is cheated on, there's two options, right? So you can leave or you can stay. But if you leave, if you love someone with all your heart and they cheat on you, your love for them doesn't stop. And so I know a lot of men are like, well, if you couldn't get over it, you should have left. It's not that easy. And we all know that it's not that easy it's not just leave or stay. It's I leave and I'm heartbroken, or I stay and I'm heartbroken, right? But if I leave and I'm heartbroken, I lose what I believed was my best friend. I lose this relationship. And if we're being honest, that sometimes is a bigger loss. It feels like a bigger loss than just staying and trying to get over it, right? Sometimes it's like, I'm not ready to leave this person. I truly love them. They hurt me, but I love them. And so you try to get over it, but you don't really get over it. And so what has happened is 15 years have gone by, but that pain is not gone anywhere. And like a bad piece of fruit in the pantry, it has molded and it has started to spread into other areas of their relationship. And I think, not that I love that this has happened to Elena, because I think it's hurtful and I hate that, for her, because you can see that she's being very, very honest. And that's a very painful place to be. But I also think that a lot of other women are dealing with this and not talking about it. And there needed to be some conversation about, how do you heal from infidelity? Like, how do we heal? Not just say, I'm over it because I want to stay. But if you do stay, what does that look like, right? What can you do to get yourself in a position where you're not carrying that around? And what can your significant other do to help you heal from that? Because really, a lot of that is their responsibility, right? And a lot of times, the significant other doesn't want to take it. It's like, you need to get over. You said you're going to get over it, so I don't want to be involved in you getting over it. Just get over that and let's move on. But I've always used the example of, like, if someone shoots you and you're laying there bleeding. If you shot me and you love me, you claim to love me, then you need to help me heal. Help bandage me up. Like, don't just sit there and get mad because I'm bleeding all over. How dare you bleed all over? You shot me. You know what I mean? So it really is the responsibility of both parties. But I think the person that committed the infraction has a responsibility to figure out what that other person needs. And the person that has been cheated on, has to be honest about how they feel. Don't just try to hurry up and stay and forget about it, because it's not going to go anywhere. And this is proof. 15 years later, she's still harboring pain, from that. In addition to that, there's some other things going on that we don't know about that I'm sure we're going to find out in upcoming seasons. But I believe that poison of that infidelity that happened during their engagement, and she wanted to go ahead and get married, she never addressed it. And then there's other little things added to that. And now they're in a place where, and also you got to remember, they were young. When you get married young, you don't know who you are. And as you start to mature and you start to realize you may start needing different things, and your partner may not be up to that. So you have to learn you have to intentionally grow together. And so I think that is a big part of what we're going to see with Elena. And I told her I really appreciated her vulnerability. That took a lot, because, we talk about this whole superwoman stereotype with Black women. It is true. There are so many of us that are walking around trying to look like we have it all together and secretly hurting. And we don't have safe spaces to talk about it, because our friends are expecting us to be perfect. And if you're not, as opposed to loving on you and comforting you, it almost becomes more of like gossip fodder, right? And so I feel like that's what we saw happen at the table with Chloe. It was like, girl, y'all breaking up. And then if that was the case, she could not wait to get back and be like, girl, do you know who broke up? So we keep it to ourselves and we suffer in silence. And that really has to stop. I think that's one of the biggest things that hurts us as a community, because if women are not able to be honest and stop being so fake, number one, it hurts other women, because they think something's wrong with them if they're not able to do it. Like, well, what's wrong with me? She looks like she has everything and she's doing fine. No, she's not doing fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Life means that we all have ups and downs. Nothing is perfect. If you see people that have been married for 15 years, there's going to be some heartache and some pain and some overcoming in that relationship. When Michelle Obama talked about that, people like jumped on her. And she said it was like bad years. And that is just a part of any relationship. So I think that, seeing this, I really hope that at the end of this, Elena and her husband are not divorced. But I think her being honest about where they are and sharing that is a positive thing. Labrina actually said that, when she was initially married to her husband, he's in the NFL, and she dealt with a lot of infidelity as well. So her just sitting there and being honest about that and sitting there and being present and sharing her pain was huge. And I think that was a much better space for Elena to be vulnerable than it was at the table. I just think, as a rule of thumb, my grandmother used to say, y'all see Paisley. Paisley is out of control. You're not going to have like 6 best friends, right? You're not going to have, she's like, if you have one best friend, you are lucky. You are lucky. So when you see big groups of girls, I think it's great to have groups of women around you, right? That are positive. But I also think, your deepest, darkest secrets, you have to know who you can be vulnerable with and who, does not deserve that, or who is not able to accommodate that. And I think in this situation, oh my God, she could not come in here again. In this situation, the place that Chloe's in right now means she is not able to really be a support because she's got so much going on herself and she's not sure how to handle that. So I think you have to really know, like, in this group of friends that I have, I love everybody, but if I need to talk to someone and I need to be able to be honest, I need to have a safe space that's not going to throw things back at me. And I think you have to know that. That is what I think I took from that. You have to know what those friendships are like. Paisley is a firecracker. Paisley is like the Chihuahua. Oh my God. But yeah, that type of conversation should not be discussed in big groups. And I don't even think it should be, I don't think it's ever a time to discuss in big groups. So I think that brunch conversation, I'm sure production, wanted that. It was, they want the show. They want the show to do, hey, Tamasha, they want the show to do well. They want to be able to capture people with that first, Paisley, with that first show. And that's what they did. I think the first show was great. But I also think that was not a great time, that brunch for Elena to talk about her situation, because that had to be painful. If you guys are just checking in, I want to run the question back. Tonight's question is it against girl code to bring up and mention if your girlfriend's husband is fine or not? Is that against girl code? I'm going to run this clip one more time so you guys can see it. If you're watching the replay, make sure that you let us know in the comments if you think this was out of bounds. This is a clip of Saturday's premiere episode of Heart and Hustle. And this is the group of ladies that we are being introduced to. All 6 ladies are here having brunch at Latoria's new restaurant. And one of the ladies has something to say about her girlfriend's husband.
Ever feel like you are outgrowing Josh? And I realize like that. I don't feel like Elena, you said do you feel he's fine too? Like Josh ain't baby.
You gonna mention somebody's husband is not fine and they sit right there next to you? I'm speechless. I needed Chat GPT or whatever it's called.
He is fine. He is fine.
So that clip was crazy. And then after that, she continued to try to defend her position on her husband. What I'm not going to do is try to explain that my husband is fine to you. That is not, if you don't think he's fine, that's cool. I think I probably wouldn't end up going back and forth with her, but I feel like, yes, that was totally against girl code. She took things too far. It was ridiculous. That's something that you don't say. And I asked the ladies, because I interviewed Elena and Manira, and they both gave me, obviously we know Elena, what she thinks, but you guys tune in tomorrow for my conversation with them, where you'll be able to see what they both responded to that scene, but they were talking about her being too good for her husband. And that's another thing that was kind of like a red flag, because I think we value people based on how much money they have and what we think they look like, right? But if someone has been married for 15 years, that what that person looks like has very little to do with why they're married. It doesn't that it's not about what they look like, it's about how that person cares for them and the bond that they have. And 15 years is a long time to be married. So her statement was just really immature to me. Um, and her saying that, oh, I couldn't be married to someone that long, you'd have to have really nasty sex. And it's like, in a great marriage, the sex is not the most important thing. It is definitely a cherry on the top. And it's something that God has given us to enjoy, but it is not the most important thing, because most people, I think, are not realizing marriage is about having someone that has your back. Life is hard. Life is hard. And as we go through job losses, losing our parents, our children doing things, you want to have someone that has your back. That's at the end of the day, that's more important than, someone that is fine. And fine goes away sometimes, fine may not last. Tammy says, don't tell men that. Well, I mean, I think that's across the board for everybody. But if a man doesn't understand that, then he's probably not fit to be a husband. But a man who is a real husband and who really understands what a husband is, knows that it is about the hard times and being there for a person and having someone to go through life with. It is not about just, having nasty sex. Like, again, that is a great coup, but that is also, if someone's, parent passes away, that is not what you need, by your side. I have a friend that, his mom passed and he was married to a woman that she was very, just not sympathetic and not empathetic towards him. I have another male friend that his wife had cancer, and the woman he was married to was like, I don't feel like, why do you have to spend so much time with your mom? Like, oh my gosh, this is cutting into our time. Meanwhile, his mother is on her deathbed. So that is what makes people good partners and good spouses. And I'm not saying life is always bad, but what I'm saying is what Chloe's talking about is ridiculous. And that's another thing. Like, being a cougar is cool until that young boy wants something more. And then he's going to have to go find somebody that can give him that. And then you're going to be by yourself. That is heartless. Tamasha, that's heartless and selfish, but that happens more than you guys think. And conversations I've had with people on both sides, men and women. So it's not like it's more men that do messed up things. There are a lot of women that do messed up things as well. And I know one lady that actually, when her husband moved his mother in because his mother was sick, she said, I didn't sign up for this, and she moved out. So she moved out of the house because she did not want to help take care of his mother. That's not what she signed up for. I think that, as I understand, social media has created a great narrative that looks really good, but it's really not representative of what true marriage is supposed to be about. Tammy says, how do you know these younger men always want kids? They don't always want kids. I'm just saying that's an option. Now, if you guys want to go, if women want to go date these 22-year-olds and think that man may not want kids, he may not at 22 or 25 or even 30. But I do know a situation where at 45, he decided he really wanted kids. And, they ended up splitting up. So we all have choices, and you have to do what's right for you. But whatever your choice is, let that be your choice. And don't, throw shade to someone else because they're making a different choice. But I do know, regardless of if your husband is 22 or 52 or 62, the nasty sex is not the most important part of a marriage. Now, for some couples, it may be more important than others, but there are still so many more things in life that are. But it was good seeing Elena and Labrina actually have a real conversation about what it takes to stay married and the pain and hurt that a lot of women suffer in silence with, because they don't, you don't want, as a Black woman specifically, I've never been a white woman, I've only been a Black woman. I know as a Black woman, you stay with a man who cheats on you, people are looking at you, calling you stupid. I mean, let's look at what people do to, and we don't know that that Marceau has ever cheated on Letitia. We don't have any proof. We can speculate, but we don't have any proof. But look at how viewers have said Tisha's stupid for staying with her husband. They've been married over 15 years. How is she stupid? That's a success, right? But the viewers are like, oh, she's stupid, she this, she that. And it's like, people really don't understand that any marriage that lasts that long has gone through issues. Any marriage, from Obama to, I don't know, I ain't gonna say some Hollywood marriages. We're just not gonna mention them because they are ridiculous. But there are, yeah, I'm thinking of ones now, and I'm like, I can't mention them. I can say Mr. Denzel Washington, his wife Pauletta, as much as you guys know, I think he's the best actor ever. He has put that woman through hell. That is, it has not been all roses. You know what I mean? That there's no way that I bet if we had a real honest and vulnerable conversation with Pauletta Washington, we probably wouldn't like Denzel Washington very much, because anytime you have gone through that much and then also been in that type of public eye and had that type of access, child, I don't want to be in her shoes. I see her shoes from afar. They look nice, but I don't want that, because you got to know that anything that's worth having is going to have some pain. So I love that Labrina is able to get that. Denzel admitted that he cheated. Not only did he admit he cheated, he said, I will never leave my wife. I may give her a reason to leave me, but I will never leave my wife. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you I'm not leaving my wife. However, what I'm not saying is that I may not do something that may hurt her and make her want to leave me. I remember he said that a long time ago, and I was very telling, right? But yeah, I think, we have to talk about what is behind these power couples. And a lot of people are jealous of people, and they don't have any idea what that person has gone through to be there, right? Has gone through to stay there, has gone through to make that work. On the other hand, hey, if you want to date with the young boys, I understand. It's probably a lot of fun. It's just like men have been doing it for years. Men are continuing to do it. Men like Shannon Sharp may realize they don't need to do it as often as they do, but men have definitely been doing this for years to stay relevant and to make themselves feel young and feel vibrant. And so women can do the same thing. I just think you got to know what you're dealing with in any situation, right? And you make a choice, you make a decision, you got to live with it. So that is what I got from that. I can't wait to see, especially for you guys watching the replay, what you think of the girl code. Do you think that Chloe is out of bounds and she's definitely violated girl code? Or do you think that friends should be able to be honest with each other about everything, even if they don't think your husband is attractive? I remember I was dating this guy, and one of my friends told me that he was lame. He was like, he's lame. You could do so much better. Now, the reality was, he was telling me the truth. It was one of my LBC friends, and he was telling me the truth. But I remember one of my other girlfriends was like, he doesn't have a right to say that. But we weren't married, so I think you can say whatever you want. But when people are married, I think you have to keep your mouth off of people that have been in covenant with God. You just, that's none of your business. That's none of your concern. So I look forward to seeing more of Heart and Hustle. Heart and Hustle. I liked, and I really, I know that's a catchy name, but I don't think this show doesn't give me hustle vibes. This show gives me real women doing real things. And I think that it's going to be a better version of Bell Collective. I think Houston, I can relate to a little bit more than Jackson, Mississippi. It's just some things happening in Jackson, Mississippi I could not relate to. But I can definitely relate to these ladies in Houston a lot more. I'm interested to see what you guys think about the first episode. I am going to give the first episode an 8.5. Actually, I will give it an 8.75. I thought it was a great first episode. It definitely made me want to tune in. It made me want to do these recaps with you guys every week. The only reason I took away 1.5 points is because I do feel like it was very produced. Like that lunch was very, very produced. Like, I don't believe that those women don't seem like they really are friends. There seem like a couple of them that are really friends, but I don't feel like these are all genuine, authentic friendships. It felt like a lot of the women are just getting to know each other and for the show. And so the lunch to me felt a little forced. And so that's why I'm not going to give it a 10. But I respect that, Linda, that you gave it a 10. That's huge. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I think that I need to see the women gelling a little bit more. I think some of them did, but I feel like they're getting to know each other just as we're getting to know them. And so when you present it like this is a group of girlfriends, but it ain't really a group of girlfriends. It's a group of, a few of them have known each other, but they're very casted. They were casted to create that. Oh, that's a wonderful quote. And old love never dies. It just finds a quieter place to rest. Deborah, what are you speaking of? What were you speaking about in that with that that quote? That's a very deep quote. Stop. That's a very deep quote. I like it. I just don't know who you're speaking about with that quote. Oh my God. I'm definitely Sugar Pie's offspring is not equipped to stay here. Jeez. She's not going to be welcome back for another Heart and Hustle review. But yeah, I gave it an 8.5. Let me know what you guys give it. If you're watching the replay, I see Antoinette says a 9. Tammy is giving it a 7.5. Okay. Once you get over a group of four friends, it becomes complicated. Tammy, I agree. I also feel like 4 could be a lot. I've had friendships where it was 4 of us and it was a lot. It was a lot. It blew up. It blew up. Linda says, I like the fashion. I like the businesses they're in, the family dynamics and everything. I do too. That's why I gave it an 8.5. I think, out of all the shows that OWN has premiered, I am really excited about this show. I can't wait for you guys to see the interview I did with Elena and Elena and Munira. Munira is the electrical engineer turned influencer. But I can't wait for you guys to see that interview and how that interview goes, and let me know what you think about it. I think it's going to make you like the ladies a lot more, and hopefully we'll have more of the ladies over the upcoming weeks stop by. I definitely would love to have Victoria because, like I said, I know her. And yes, I agree, Linda. Jesse Collins is a great producer. So this show, I think, is definitely going to be a shining star for OWN. I think it's definitely a lot better. It feels more highbrow than some of the other shows. We won't name any names. But I look forward to reviewing every week. So we're going to review every Sunday at here at 10 o'clock for Heart and Hustle to get us ready for the week. As you get ready for your work week, I pray that you have gotten some rest and relaxation over the weekend. I pray that you are able to really get some rest tonight and think about what you want for the week. Stay in a positive space. Get your affirmations in. And just be determined and committed to making it a beautiful week. And I am going to do the same thing. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me tonight. And I hope that as people watch this review, they will leave their comments. Remember, we want to know what you think. Do you think it is against girl code? Has Chloe violated girl code by telling Elena that her husband is not fine? And leave that in the comment. And then, of course, let us know what you think of the show. What would you rate the show? The first premiere episode tonight. Last night, Heart and Hustle. I gave it an 8.5. Most people have given it a pretty good rating. So I think we're all locked in to keep reviewing this. And yes, tomorrow night, we will talk about tonight's episode of King's Court. We will also do a little Grace and Gossip. And Wednesday, we'll be back with Dating Diaries. And we have a good friend of ours, Mo and I did a podcast today, and that host is going to come. So trust me, you don't want to miss Wednesday. We're going to have a good time. Ladies, come with your questions. This guy said he's ready for our chat. He is ready for the chat. He said he's ready to answer any questions. He is definitely controversial. So you're going to enjoy Wednesday's episode of the Dating Diary. So I'm trying to make it so there's something to watch here every week, every day of the week. So if you just need to pick me up and you need some positivity, you can check in. You can get a little XO and go about your week. So I thank you guys for hanging out on a Sunday night. Like I said, I pray that you have a beautiful, productive, blessed week. And I will see you on tomorrow night at 10. We're gonna talk about King's Court tomorrow, girl. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.